Pro boxing fans, we are here in London with me, Jeff Powell, MBE of the Daily Mail. How are you, sir? How's things?
I'm fine, thank you. Yes, it's nice to be in Wembley always. I should go out and look at the statue of my friend Bobby Moore, who we're trying to get a knighthood for. And whenever I'm here, I go and see him.
That is nice. That is great. You've done many of these events. Wembley, we can talk about the biggest fights from Muhammad Ali and everything else. But let's talk about this fight today. Oleksandr Usyk, you've seen some of the greats in the past, Jeff. For you, where does he rank? Because in our era, he's probably one of the biggest generational talents that we'll get to see. But from your experience, where does he rank?
Well, I think already he must rank in the top 10 or a dozen heavyweights. Maybe in the time of Ali, Foreman, Liston and all the rest of them, they were fighting a greater number of almost as great fighters, you would say. But this man has beaten everybody they can put before him. He came through an exceptionally ferocious cruiserweight division, which often gets overlooked. But the fighters he came through against in that was as much the cream of the crop as the heavyweights of the golden age of Ali. Then he goes up to heavyweight and he beats giants. So he's undefeated. I don't see how he can be omitted from at least the top dozen.
It is interesting. I do want to talk about this fight. Do you feel like, and this is a question I'm sort of posing to everyone, are we seeing a different Daniel Dubois physically and mentally coming into this fight compared to the first fight?
I think he must have matured in 2.5 years. At his age, he's still only 27. He must have grown up a bit too. I was a bit alarmed at the training, the open training, when he was up. He sort of thought he was Superman, almost kept flying into the ring, and he was like a cat on a hot tin roof, bouncing around there, and exuding a great deal of energy, nervous energy. And I'm pleased to say that he was a bit calmer today. He was confident still, but he was more restrained. And I think only one faux four-letter word came out. And he seemed to, I preferred him in that more focused and still confident, but a bit more considered.
For Oleksandr Usyk, do you feel like there's a narrative that's getting played out and different types of narratives for this fight? Do you feel like it's possibly the best time to be catching somebody like Oleksandr Usyk, or is there even a good time to be fighting Oleksandr Usyk?
I don't think there's ever a good time to fight Oleksandr Usyk. And the thing about him is he's an astonishing specimen. The motivation of fighting for his country as well as for himself has driven him to maintain a fantastic level of fitness, going through hell to do it. I mean, the extremes of his training are remarkable. And the Ukrainian patriotism has been a powerful factor in that, I'm sure. So that's enabled him to be sort of, in my opinion, 38 going on 31, 32 physically. Now, intellectually, it's certainly in terms of boxing intelligence, but also he's a very, very bright man. Every time we've seen him through the cruiserweight stuff and then up to heavyweight, he is a little bit better every time. He never, ever stops improving. So, yes, I think there'll be a bit of a big change in Daniel, and he'll need it to be a big change from the first fight 2.5 years ago. I'm sure he's better than that. But be aware that Oleksandr improves all the time. He will even improve because the computer is taking down the data all the time. He will even improve in the early rounds of this fight. And when everyone's saying Daniel has to win early, it's not because of stamina. It's not because, he might find it harder to catch up with as far as it goes on. It's because Usyk, assuming he doesn't get knocked out, will be getting better and better as the fight goes on. He already knows a lot about Dubois. He'll know even more after the first 2 or 3 rounds, 3 or 4 rounds. Anything new that's coming from him, he will have worked out by then. Now we move into dangerous territory for Daniel.
I was looking at sort of a fight analysis for this, and Daniel Dubois had a great resurgence with the Riyadh season. A lot of people have wrote him off in regards to the Joyce fight, in regards to the Usyk fight. and he seems to have resurged himself.
Yeah.
When you look at Oleksandr Usyk's last 5 fights, you got Anthony Joshua, Daniel Dubois, Fury. Like, how do you even top off a resume like that? Not even just the last 5 fights, but how do you even top off his resume?
Usyk is fighting for his country, but he's also fighting for himself. He's waving the 3 fingers around because he's not predicting the knockout. He's predicting 3rd-time undisputed champion in probably the 2 hardest physical divisions in boxing and the marquee division of heavyweight. He comes through twice undisputed in the 4-belt era, and only having not carried on being undisputed after beating Fury because of the machinations of these governing bodies. But he becomes undisputed the 2nd time. He really will have an iconic place in boxing history.
On the other hand, Daniel Dubois is young, ruthless, and he has that tenacity that he showed in the Anthony Joshua fight from the get-go. Do you feel like if he is to win this fight, that these are the things that are going to push him forward for it?
Oh, I think he's as motivated as he can be. He has his eyes on his own piece of history. He keeps talking about this. It will be him making the history here, and it's a great opportunity for him to do so. I don't think he'll give it away. He will have to be better than last time, significantly so, I think. Will he be? Joshua was a great statement performance, but Oleksandr is not going to walk on to sucker punches the way AJ did here that night. It's not going to happen. He's going to have to find him and box cleverly to land the big punches. So it's not quite. Anthony Joshua did everything for his confidence. Probably not much for what he needs technically to deal with this fight.
Okay, I do want to talk about Anthony Joshua actually. There's talks about him and Valteke Ali-Sheikh want to make a fight between him and Jake Paul. I know this is not your cup of tea, Jeff, because you've been around for a long time, but do you feel like, regardless of us guys who are more hardcore, staunch hardcore fans, that there's a market for this eventually? If he does fight Tyson Fury twice, Anthony Joshua, that there is a market for Jake Paul and Anthony Joshua.
Well, there's in the modern world, there's market for new things. Jake Paul has excited a lot of interest in non-boxing people. And we shouldn't turn our nose up at that. He's attracted a different audience. And there is evidence that a lot of younger guys are thinking, I like the boxing now. He's attracting a big new audience. So I don't understand the animosity towards him. Should those 2 fight? Goodness knows. I'm not sure that either Fury or AJ really want to fight each other. If they do so, it will be if the financial incentive is pretty huge. Whether they would have to fight twice, I don't know either, because they're getting to the stage of being yesterday's men that the first fight might not be productive for a second fight. So if the winner fights Jake Paul, I guess we'll go and watch it, and we'll enjoy it for what it is. Is it something I desperately want to see? No.
Yeah, but that's you, Jeff. You watch Muhammad Ali. That's different to us people who are, I've been in the game for 10 years and I can't compare to what you've obviously done.
Don't forget that Ali went and fought a Japanese kickboxer in Tokyo.
So that is a good point.
Everybody likes to make a few bucks, a few yen, a few pounds.
In regards to Tyson Fury, actually, we're talking about Tyson.
Yeah.
He's got options, and he's talked about the Usyk fight. He wants that Usyk 3 fight. In your eyes, what's the biggest fight for him? Is it the AJ fight? Is it a Dubois fight? If Dubois wins this and there's undisputed with Dubois, or is it Usyk?
I think either of those are better than Usyk again. I think we all know, and he proclaims that he won the first 2 fights. Well, he was actually saved in the second fight from being knocked out by a referee who lost the plot completely. So whether he truly believes that, I'm not perfectly certain, but I don't think there's any mileage in Fury Usyk 3. I don't think it's one of the great trilogies, because the second fight Usyk won it more easily.
Last one before I let you go. Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Benn, seems like negotiations are sort of waving away, and I think today I saw that Ring Magazine and Seller all sort of distancing themselves away. So if it is an event, it's going to be conducted by Matchroom. Do you feel like this is it? This is the end of negotiations for that rematch, and that might not possibly happen no more?
I'm concerned about the original organising of the weights and the rehydration. Eubank thought for the first fight he could handle it. Manifestly, he could barely handle it. He was in extreme physical distress, not because of the fight, because the fight was not a great fight. It was like two kids going out to slap each other around in the schoolyard. It was not a great boxing match. It was exciting for the punters, and it gave the North London boys a great night out. But it wasn't one of the great boxing matches that you and I have watched. Should it happen again, as a saleable product, yes, you'd say it would do this. It would do a big gate again at the Tottenham Hotspur ground. Is it worth it as a purist boxing point of view? No, but I'm really concerned that the British Boxing Board of Control have gone along with the dehydration clause and everything, because this guy was clearly completely out of it, just drained of water at the end, and the following morning was in hospital still. If I was Eubank, and I was Eubank's dad, because I'm closer to his age, I would not want to take that fight. And I don't think he needs to, because he won it. If I were him, I would say, thanks very much, Conor. You go away and get on with what you want to do, and I'll think whether I want to fight again.
Actually, the final one then, Canelo. There's a lot of talk about Canelo Eubank happening next year. Now it seems to be that the Canelo and Hamza Shiraz might be a fight that's being touted for next year. Which one are you hearing about that could potentially make waves in 2026?
Well, everybody talks up their fighters when they get a result. Hamza wasn't so clever in the preceding fight, for which excuses have been made. Berlanga was not the great hope that he was professed to be. Frank Warren is not stupid. He won't go to Canelo any time before Hamza's really ready, and it's not yet.
Jeff Powell, MBE of the Daily Mail. Thank you so much, sir.
My pleasure.
It's always a pleasure talking to you, and we'll see you on Fight Night, Jeff. Thank you.